Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and now let's talk Sword Art Alternative or Sword Art Online Alternative Gale Online Episode 7. Alright, okay, I am so sorry for all the frequent followers of these videos, but I have to talk about the bullet circle and the line and the bullet line because I finally understand it in this episode after 3 episodes of details about this thing. I finally have it under control in my head. I understand what it is, and now we can talk about whether or not it's a good gameplay mechanic, because now I kind of see how it works. Okay, so in this episode we get a sequence with the bullet line and the bullet circle, and I think this is like the most demonstrative one, because now we're both seeing. In the previous instances we only ever saw one half of the two part system. Like with the first introductory episode 2, I just went back and looked at it too. We saw the bullet line when it was coming from the other person. We never saw Len's bullet line in conjunction with her bullet circle, right? And then in this episode we finally get to see both systems occurring from one character, that being, oh my god, I don't know that little girl's name. Okay, whatever. Len's friend. We'll call her Blondie. I remember Rytonia and I remember Rytonia. I remember that she had the names. It's Righty and Lefty. Okay. I'll just call her Grenade Girl. Anyway, we had Grenade Girl there. Ah, man, I know she said her name in the episode too. This is gonna bother me. Anyway, Grenade Girl. This is the first time we've actually seen both systems occur for the same person. And so, you know, we first see the bullet circles, and then we get to see how Len perceives it. So now the gameplay system makes sense to me. Okay, so what pretty much happens is the opposing player knows where your bullet's gonna end up. The other player doesn't. The aggressing player doesn't. Instead, the aggressing player gets what I believe is the illusion of random chance. And now, like, the part that got really weird, and I think the part that threw me off, is that back when we had it with the lady, she, in the subs that I had read, said that the bullet will fly randomly somewhere within the circle. That line by itself was very misleading, because it tells you, okay, well, is there a random chance on the circle? But you know, the whole bullet line concept itself said that the bullet would fly down the line. When we see it in this episode, I understand it more. What the bullet circle is doing, she said it was a prediction system. The bullet circle is telling you, like, somewhere within this circle is the spot that your bullet's gonna land at. And since the bullet line itself doesn't change, the spot's predetermined the moment that you touch your trigger. So the gameplay system itself is a really annoying system, because if you hold the line for 5 seconds, you aren't changing where that bullet line's it's gonna end up, because the bullet line's already been set from the moment you tapped it. Instead, what you gain from 5 seconds is that you can maybe figure out where the bullet line isn't, because the bullet circle is going to move around. The bullet circle is pretty much going to move around the point instead of it won't cross over the point and move into a different zone. It's always going to stay around the point, so you can eliminate spaces. That doesn't sound worth it from a gameplay standpoint. That's pretty stupid. Or, you know, I don't want to call it pretty stupid, but I don't think it's very intuitive from gameplay, right? Because the way you would just overcome the mechanic or just deal with mechanics is like the moment you put your finger on the trigger, you just shoot, because it doesn't matter how much longer you hold the point for. Just shoot the moment you put it on your trigger. The bullet circle itself is pretty much useless, and this actually coincides with what Pito Hui had said initially, that the moment that how did she phrase it? The moment a monster's within the bullet circle, it's gonna be hit. That was the way that she phrased it. Just like the moment that you have the circle on top of any part of the monster, it's going to be an automatic hit. So that makes sense now. Pito Hui's words, though, contradict what the teacher initially said in the subs, that it was a random chance. No, it's not. It's just the illusion of randomness. So the interesting thing here is that from a real world perspective, the meta game around this kind of mechanic would just turn into just shoot. if you have your opponent in the bullet circle in general, just shoot. It doesn't matter where you figure it out, because like taking the 20 extra seconds to figure out where that line is not as effective as just shooting and resetting again, right? Because it only takes you like a fraction of a second to make the shot, as opposed to trying to figure out or work with the prediction system. So I think like if we had this as a real thing, the meta game for Gun Gale would just be a very aggressive shooter, which isn't that much different than what we got now. Instead, it's just how would you say? Because like if we go back to COD, you have your scopes. Your scopes tell you a pretty good estimate of where your bullet's going to end up. You have your reticle. Gun Gale doesn't have the reticle. It just has the bullet circle, which is effectively useless. I mean, I guess the only way you would know you have a faulty shot is if the circle is nowhere near the person's body. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. All things considered, I find it so interesting. I think this is an issue of, I don't know what to call it, actually. But you guys let me know. I do apologize. We're 6 minutes in already, and we just talked about the damn bullet circle. I'm sorry you guys had to sit through that. Anyway, let's move on. Other things in the episode. It was a good plot episode. We just moved through, and we got into the tournament. So there were a few things in the episode though that were kind of worthwhile. I feel like this little episode had a lot of cool little details, such as when Len and her friend Grenade Girl are walking down the street. If you look at the scene, there's tons of people staring at them, and yeah. And then other thing that I thought was very interesting was that Len's friend is a total beginner when it comes to Gun Gale Online. I think she might have mentioned that. I think she wasn't a beginner with MMOs, but I was actually expecting a bit more skill from her. So maybe it's a good thing that she went for a explosive device, that she went for a grenade launcher. And on the flip side, we also talked about Pito Hui for a bit, and I didn't know that a Pito Hui was a bird from, I think, Guyana? Guinea. It might have been from Guinea, South Guinea, or like it's from an island. And I actually went and I looked it up online, and it's like, yeah, it actually is a poisonous bird. Guys, I've never heard about poisonous birds. So the Pito Hui, the way it works is that its skin itself is toxic. So you can't eat the Pito Hui unless you defeather it and also de-skin it. So no KFC with this bird. But that was just really interesting. And so people, I think locals call it a trash bird because it doesn't, humans can't take resources from it that easily. I found that so interesting. That's pretty cool. And the Pito Hui is also in the opening. So now, like, that scene in the opening where you have the bird showing up behind Len, it makes a lot more sense. I really like it. So overall, the episode itself, because it's such a setup episode, it's more of just like entertaining little things. There's a few things being thrown around in the episode, but I don't think it's anything monumental. Again, like the biggest shock to me was that this girl was a total beginner. And it was cool to see Pito Hui being like moderately normal as she's working with M. And of course, it was also funny that M gave them so much money. Actually, it's very strange that there wasn't more plot for this one. Yeah, actually, yeah. We could keep talking about logistic problems here, though. In this episode, Len's friend ended up coming in with another shorty avatar, so a cutie avatar, and that was so interesting, right? Because like the initial premise on those avatars is that they're so rare that people thought they were NPCs, and hey, here we go. Len's friend just gets it on the first attempt when she logs into Gun Gale. So, I find it funny. Probability wise, it's not as if it's impossible. It's just you think about it, and it's like two people who know each other got the same style of avatar, and you're telling me that no one else has. I mean, it's always a probability game, and it's fiction as well, but I can't help but find it funny. Now I watched the episode yesterday, so I might be forgetting details, but those were like the main points I really wanted to talk about. It was the bullet circle, the illusion of variance, And oh no, we got one more thing. We got a description for Pito Hui's character, and we got this from the Memento Mori guy. And I find this so interesting again because people in this game take death so seriously. Like they talk about how like death is just like this really dangerous thing, and they talk about how Pito Hui is just a crazed killer in a video game, and it's just like I wonder to what degree does the realism of the video game justify these kind of responses. And I think I'm forgetting something about like how the game interacts with the neural network in your brain, but I still find it funny. It's one of those things where I kind of want to see if by the time that we get to like really good VR, if we start getting so immersed to it that we take death that seriously. You know, I wonder if that would happen with a human mind. And the reason that I can see it happening is because human minds are typically very impressionable. And especially with VR, VR can already do things that disorient people. It can already play with defense mechanisms that the brain has established for humans. So, you know, I wonder if it's a combination. If you get an impressionable enough person and you get an immersive enough experience, if that experience could actually start triggering some altered behaviors in people. I'd be very interested in knowing that. Like right now, I think the most impressive things are things like extreme motion sickness and also the sensation of falling. Like I know there's a VR experience that if it feels like it's either a roller coaster or like you jump out of a plane, and then the sense like your body is seeing that you're falling and it tries to mimic the sensation of falling, but there's something that goes weird, I think, with one of the balance perceptors in your ear canal or something, and it causes weird disorientation. You know, it's all very hard and it's all very subjective what kind of feelings people get, but like at the stage we do get to replicate real fear in people when it comes to a VR experience. So I just feel like what they're talking about here, this over attachment to the idea of death and how they take it so seriously, I feel that's somewhere that we could hit with the current not current VR technology, but like with further advances in it. Another really cool one, and this is just like for like, I'm not sure if I mentioned in another video, but there was a VR experience that would constantly trigger something in like, you know, just in the like, how did they say it? It's right in the it's right on the edge of your visual range, right? It's that, you know, like when if you're in a dark place and you see something in the corner of your eye and like it causes like a reaction in you. Yeah, there was a VR experience that was based around that, and it's just the most terrifying thing because that kind of perception or that kind of pickup on the corner of your eye is something that's wired into your brain to protect you. So it's an immediate sense of fear coming out of that kind of thing. Imagine that if every second you're seeing something like blink in the corner of your eye and you just like automatically turn because it's like, holy shit, that was scary. I don't know what I'm telling you guys about that, but it's just because it's cool. It's cool how like VR messes with the brain. And just coming back to Pito Hui is crazy. So this whole VR experience must be just really like stoking the flames for her. But that's all I wanted to talk about. I thought this episode okay. I've realized that Gale Online isn't a very deep story because like even when you look at this, we're already going back into a second squad jam. So it's mostly just a fun little show to watch the characters like play through the motions and just see, I guess, some pretty cool combat scenes. I am interested to see how Len's gonna fare, but Len has extraordinary skills in this game that I guess she amassed from all the PKing that she did. So it'll be interesting to see how she kind of ranks against M, because M is dangerous. But yeah, those are my thoughts for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, guys, let me know any more comments you have on the bullet line and the bullet circle. Whatever. I think I'm pretty happy with what I've understood from it now. But yeah, guys, till next time. I hope you have a great day.